In 1978, the Boeing company in Seattle was designing experimental aircraft, like planes with weird shapes, too many wings and stuff. So to visualize how they would look like, they were helped by a computer scientist named Loren Carpenter, who would create computer-generated images of those planes. And Carpenter wanted to put a mountain in the background of those renders, because there was one in every Boeing ad. Problem? This was 1978, and a computer then didn't really have the power to handle 1 million of polygons needed to model a mountain, and first of all, there wasn't any software to do that. So this task was impossible for him. That until he discovered the fractals and the work of Benoit Mandelbrot in the book Fractals, Form, Chance and Dimension. Thanks to Mandelbrot's work, Carpenter was able to let the computer generate those mountains by itself. Starting with a landscape made of a few triangles, he would let the computer split those triangles in smaller ones, and then this last operation would then be repeated a number of times, creating more and more triangles with each iteration. The result was stunning and marked the beginning of a new way of computer-generated imagery. Carpenter even left the Boeing company to work for Lucasfilm, where he generated a fictional planet for the movie Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and this was the first scene entirely in CGI in a full-length cinema movie. All of this was possible thanks to fractals, a mathematical concept theorized by Benoit Mandelbrot in the late 70s. It is used to create and describe never-ending patterns that repeat themselves indefinitely at different scales. So you could indefinitely zoom in a fractal shape and find the general shape of the fractal inside itself. This kind of imagery has bonded strongly with the psychedelic movement. We can find fractals in nature in various places, and the mathematical concept has been useful in other domains that are not visual, like economics and telephony. There's a lot to say, I find fractals fascinating, but there's a question that's been on my mind for months, and that's how can I use fractals to make a fractal music? So the first idea would be to create a melody, and then layer it with the same melody but played slower or faster. So we would have the same pattern, the melody, repeated at different scales. If we do that on different layers, we'll have the same melody harmonizing itself at different speeds, which means that any note of the melody could be played at the same time than any other note. Which means that we'd have to make sure that every note is consonant with every others. So to do that, I decided to work with the notes of a minor ninth chord, a E minor ninth. So we have 5 notes, a pentatonic scale, but played all together they form a chord that I find beautiful. So I started writing a melody using those notes, copied that in different tracks to play it at different speeds and see how it harmonized. Then I changed the melody in some places to improve it, copy it again on different tracks, rinse and repeat until I found something that I liked. I found that melodies with pauses or rhythmic variations didn't work really well, so I went for a melody on a steady pulse, and this is what I ended up with. And now layered with several versions of itself. That's cool, and I find it mesmerizing already. But for now, the fractal side of it is only on the pitch and the speed of the harmony. And I wondered if other aspects could use this fractal logic as well, like the tone, the timbre of the sound. Fractals can be built with an iterative logic. First, you start with a simple shape, say a square, and you apply a transformation to it. Say you divide this square into 9 squares and remove the middle one. Then you would apply the same transformation to every sub-area of the shape. Here we are left with 8 squares, so we'll divide each one in 9 squares and remove the middle one. And then repeat the process an infinite number of times. There, each time you apply the transformation is called an iteration. And that is something we could apply to our music as well. Right now this melody gets faster with each iteration, but it also gets higher as each copy that is made faster is also made 1 octave higher. So this could be done with a lot more parameters to affect the tone of the sound. As the melody goes faster, we could make the note shorter, the reverb wider, the distortion more subtle. As long as the transformation goes in the same direction with each iteration, we could apply that to any effect. So I gave it a try, and this is what I was left with. Now, there's something I'd like to try with this. We could go even further. One fun aspect of the fractals is to zoom in indefinitely to always find new details and find the same general form again. Well, maybe somehow we could do that with music too. Maybe we could make this music feel like it's accelerating indefinitely or slow it down indefinitely, to give the feel of a zoom in or a zoom out. And there's an auditory illusion that can help us with that. That is very close to a shepherd's tone. A shepherd's tone is an auditory illusion that gives the sensation of a note going up or down in pitch indefinitely. You can build one with 3 parallel notes with an interval of an octave between each of them, and they all go slowly up in pitch. The lower one will start silent and slowly fade in until it reaches the pitch of the middle one. The middle one will stay at the same level throughout, and the higher one will slowly fade out. This creates a loop where the beginning is identical to the end, so the loop will always seem to move up indefinitely. We can use the same principle with rhythm if we have 3 identical rhythms but played at different speeds. The slower one will slowly fade in until it reaches the speed of the middle one will stay throughout, and the faster one will slowly fade out. If we make them all go slowly faster, so the slower one reaches the speed of the middle one and the middle one reaches the speed of the faster one, we should end up with the same kind of illusion, where the rhythm seems to always go faster and faster. So as our music is built with the same melody and therefore the same rhythm, played at different speeds, we could make it go faster and faster and use this trick to make a loop that would play seamlessly. The problem is that the slower melody is also played an octave lower, so it can go up in speed to reach the pace of the melody above, but it will still be an octave lower. So to try and blend everything together, I will duplicate each track to have a copy higher in pitch that will slowly fade in, while the original slowly fades out. Hopefully that can make the loop appear more seamless. If we really want to go deeper with the fractal trip, we can try something a bit crazier. What about we take this whole song we've just made and speed it up so much that it becomes a buzz, a continuous buzzy note. And then we can use this note to play this exact same music. Then we would have a fractal music where each note is made of that same fractal music. If we really wanted to push that to the max, we could repeat this process several times. The question is how deep we want to go with it, how many iterations we want to make. And now I think we went far enough to explore different ideas to make fractal music, but it would be cool to have a real fractal music instead of a single loop that is built with fractal principles. So I'll try and put together the different stages we went through to introduce first the melody and then adding the other layers at different speeds and then accelerating it. That could be a cool way to progressively hear how all that evolved. If you have other ideas on how we could build a fractal music, let me know in the comments, as I would love to hear that. As well as if you make a fractal music with these principles, tag me on Twitter or Instagram, as I would love to hear that as well. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you liked it. If you want to support the channel, there is a Patreon that's been created for that. All the links are in the description. So now I will leave you with a finished track. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you all next time.